Hey you guys, it's MJ from Alta Love, and I want to talk about subtle energy and what subtle energy has to do with liberation. And this is just through more recent shifts and inner clarity in a kind of fusion of fluidity and expansion. And this making me think of the kind of paradoxical nature of our existence in this reality. Because oddly, the more fluid we become in our aliveness, the more empowered we feel. So for me personally, this experience is like more stable. Actually, the more, so relinquishing control, letting go of control, letting your reality basically just move and morph around you, but without getting like hooked in to any attachment to any specific circumstance. Although it can be like whoa, it and then there's the point. There's why I think things like our foundational spiritual practice, things like meditation, introspection, and journaling, why having those in place is so important, because of the kind of experience, right? Is that having the journaling or having the meditation or having those are points that keep it fixed. Like I'm still here and we're still creating, but my creations are not affected, or I'm not affected by my own creation, right? It's just continual creation. So in essence, the more we merge with the intuition, the more we merge with our higher self, the more we merge with spirit, the more we merge with the divine, the less confined we are by the world that we perceive. We kind of pull out of that world and then drop into our own imagination, in essence, and live there. And the reason I've titled this The Subtle Energies is, again, through my experience, the awareness of the subtleties of creation become more and more subtle. So, and it's unique to oneself. It's a unique inner working out of our long held thoughts and beliefs. There again, I look at the kind of underlying assumptions that we all make about our own nature and the nature of this reality. So picking out with every emotional trigger, every single emotional trigger, it's like, what's that? What's that? And I'm not austere. That's a big shift for me in regarding the spiritual or conscious communities. It's like, it's just us working with us. There's no dogma. There's no right way, or wrong way for that matter. There's no judgment. That's like the biggest shift, right? There is no external judge. We are it. We're the one either judging self or liberating self through the just detached witnessing of energy. Emotion is energy. Thought is energy. It's all. This is the point of looking at the subtlety, because it's all like working with one, because there's only one energy, one consciousness in infinite creative frequencies. Like that's it, vibration. It's the denser it is, the kind of harder and more material, and it kind of like it is, which is why when humans operate from the lower chakra centers, we tend to be more dense. We tend to be heavier. Our body will become ill. We might speak in a really monotonous, who knows, right? But that will be like a little bit different for everyone. And that's a sweeping statement. However, I'm sure there's truth to that. We can often see it in, people who have worked hard their whole life. They often have they have stuck energy flow, heart issues, like spine problems or something like that, because energies become stagnant in the body, i.e. rigid, fixed. It stopped moving. So that flip of the paradigm, in essence, is the fact that the more we flow with life, are less mentally attached, um, the more easily. Do you think your spiritual awakening process will end one day? I'm not even really like concerned about it anymore. I don't even think about it like that. What I'm aware of is always reaching, like embracing the journey, right? Just embrace it, just love it. I'm not, and I think that's like another flip, right? Before spiritual awakening, it was like must work hard to get to this point of finality when it's all done. And then these awakenings happening, and you're merging, and you're letting go, and you're working with energy, and it's all a little bit weird and fucked up. And then, but then the more you release, the more you release, the more you release, and then you're just in the present. And you could say, in that regard, it is done because it's already done. My only practice is like joy, allowing what is to be, forgive all, love all, and like, and then because I'm not reaching for some final state, it's like, yeah, it's already done. So I don't label myself as like I'm always in this awakening process, which is like I would say that when you have the initial awakenings, which shift your perspective rather dramatically, you go down this rabbit hole, and eventually you get to the bottom of the rabbit hole, and then you're just you, but you're you with your feet on the ground, feeling more connected and feeling in trust of who you are. Feeling in trust of the ground beneath your feet, feeling in trust in the rabbit hole and this infinite cosmos around you. You just feel in trust and faith. So you're not blocking most of your essential nature. It's not that we can probably still yoke that. But I'm someone who's very much about making this whole idea of awakening and enlightenment and stuff just practical and grounded. Like, come on, people, we need to be nice to each other, and we need to be nice to the planet. That's simple. But from my experience of being born and worked through the system, that process, like just in a very practical way, it can be weird and counterintuitive, and it might take a little bit of like working out. So it's that working out, i.e. the atonement, that leads into liberation. So for me, it was a good few years of owning and transforming all of my shit density emotion, and then eventually going like poo, 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 and like popping out into this space of like, one, actually enjoying living in my body. That's huge. Now going through this another clearing phase of my circumstantial reality and people leaving, but I understand, I feel in my heart energetically there is purpose for that. I have to let go of old paradigm limitation around relationship. I just have to. It's part of my kind of contract for being here. And letting people go to be free so that I can continue to shine my light. It's ultimately that. If I want to hook into lower vibrational frequencies, I can. It just won't necessarily serve the trajectory that I'm on, which I'm realizing it's, not depending on our own inclination, not necessarily a lot of people can really feel in and see our vision for our own life. Those are special people, right? So some of us, a lot of us probably only have that kind of small network of friends and family who really support what we're doing here, because we're so unique and have come here for such a divine purpose, and yet it's not clear cut necessarily. So yes, the idea of like, does the spiritual awakening? Yeah, it does, because the spiritual awakening is one like part of transformation, because we can't transform, really, we're not doing conscious transformation unless we've had some form of awakening. So the awakening must occur in order to endeavor a conscious transformation, and then I think that cycle just keeps going. I don't think it ends. I think there's just new challenge on like a broader level. And I don't know why I'm thinking of this as an example, but like think of the challenge like for the story of Jesus, right? So he comes and he's like, "Oh, okay. Thanks, God. You want to crucify me. Cheers." But he did. That was part of his contract, you could say. That was part of the contract for him to move through that and still embody the grace of God, and still embody his call, his full spiritual form as the resurrected body, right? I don't want to go into it greatly because everybody's got their 2 cents about that, and it's quite heightened. But anywho, there you have it. It gets, and there's where I could respond to you and say, no, spiritual awakening never ends, because this year is a perfect example. It keeps, like, my experience, it can get really weird, and then like expansion, contraction, always weird cycles, emotional processing, heartache, blah, like all this stuff. And yet, as I come to share with you guys, it just gets more and more like, wait, oh wait, it's like we're all explorers of self, and I'm exploring my own energies. And like with every heartache experience, with every emotional trigger, with every someone telling me that, you know, they moved on, and I'm just like, I'm so unworthy, and I'm so rejected and abandoned. But within the exploration, I notice it's getting more and more subtle. I'm picking up on more and more subtle energetic outgoings that I just think, see that? I don't need that anymore. I don't desire that. And then of course, all of my reflections are reflecting that back to me somehow, you know, new people messaging, old people falling away, like just mergings and changes and differences. So it's all very kind of exciting, but the subtlety, that's the work. You know, that's the flip of the paradigm. Is now our value is really in the invisible realms. That's the part of like downloading, you know, fifth dimensional conscious awareness or consciousness awareness into this, like, and like moving it through into this realm, which is raising the perceived 3D matrix into 4D, right? So we're bridging this massive energetic movement, you could say, and it's mind-blowing. And you know, when you blow your mind, the physical reality can get a little, and I've had that, I've witnessed that with people, which is why I really have shifted how I work and coach with people, i.e. never ever try to get clients or whatever, because if people aren't ready, this kind of information can really, like, you know, like having one session and then somebody, their whole body starts to purge and like they get cramps everywhere because there's so much density being purged. So being delicate, becoming, that's my work, right? Becoming more subtle, more aware, more sensitized to when somebody's topped up, when that's enough, when they're, if so someone starts to feel nauseous or someone starts to feel achy or like withdrawn, that's their body, physical form, literally saying, I've had enough of a download, I can't integrate anymore. Where in the past, if you bombard it, people will just be like, I'm fucked, and like run away and think that the session was like totally messy or there's something seriously wrong with them, which there isn't, but it is a flip. It is a reversal of how we're trained to think. So journeying from that way to this way is a little bit different. Hence why we have more and more and more and more teachers of consciousness, because we're beings who have come in and like had to go through this system, but then have these sort of minds that can break it down in such a way. So different ways of explaining that people that are meant for us naturally get drawn in like moths to a flame, because they somehow intuitively understand the language that I'm speaking. Hence you guys finding me here. That's just how it is. The subtle energy and liberation, it's like one and the same thing. I hope that was useful to you guys. Have an awesome day. Om, peace, peace, peace. And just sending out loads of love. I look forward to speaking to you real soon. Take care. Bye.